In the latest UPSC result 2025, top 10 out of top 10 are from various courses of Vajram and Ravi, with All India Rank 1 Anuj Agnihotri and many more. For over a decade, the All India Rank 1 has emerged from this very ecosystem. A journey powered by 50 plus years of legacy. Join the GS Foundation program. Inquire now.
Hello everyone, my name is Jashwant Jenu. I have secured All India Rank 23 in UPSC Civil Services Examination 2025. So I have had a long journey in the civil services arena. In 2020, my first attempt, I cleared prelims with a good margin but couldn't clear mains. In 2021, I got All India Rank 314 and got into Indian Postal Service. In 2022, I got into Indian Railway Management Service, and the same year I also secured All India Rank 51 in Indian Forest Service Examination. In 2023, I got Air 162 and got into IPS. In 24, I got into All India Rank of 392, and finally this year I ended up with an All India Rank of 23 and will be getting into IAS. So as you have noticed, it's been a long journey, and I have been fortunate enough and blessed enough to get multiple ranks. But one cornerstone of this whole journey has been prelims. The reason why I could attempt multiple times and clear this exam multiple times was that I had a strong base in prelims, and prelims never ended up being an obstacle. In fact, all through my attempts, all through the 6 attempts, I have gotten a score of more than 105 in each and every attempt, and ended up clearing the forest service cutoff as well in all my 6 attempts. So in this video, I'll try to bring a detailed strategy of my prelims and what helped me clear each time with a good cutoff. So broadly, I would divide prelims preparation into 3 parts. The first part is the preparation, the second part is practice, and the final part is the mindset. So first, let's start with preparation. So when it comes to preparing the content, it has 2 parts, static part and the current affairs. So let's start with the static part. So the static part essentially forms the baseline of your entire preparation. So you should ensure that you have a solid foundation in place, so that you can, so that's because static ensures that you get a adequate number of marks in each and every exam. Whereas current affairs are dynamic and often unpredictable, static brings a certain degree of predictability in your marks. So coming to the sources, when it comes to polity, there's a one-stop source which is Lakshmikant, which is a standard source that everyone follows. Please ensure that you do multiple revisions of the book and ensure that you can question ask from any nook and corner. Next comes economy. For economy, I have followed Mrunal sir's notes. Yes, there is a common complaint in the market that they are very bulky, but I found that yes, that it requires a lot of time to cover, but the holistic coverage and the time spent is worth it. The bulkiness is often because Mrunal sir often doesn't restrict himself to core economy, but also ends up covering various sectors like primary sector, secondary sector, human development, various government schemes, etc. So this holistic coverage helps us bringing a overall view of general studies, and this in turn would help in those elimination of those questions in which we don't know maybe, or we are stuck at 50-50. That provides us that extra bit of information which helps us in option elimination. So despite it taking a lot of time, I often felt the time spent for Mrunal sir was worth it. Another factor with Mrunal sir's notes is he at many points he mentions what to study, and he also mentions what not to study, saying that this is beyond the scope of UPSC. So such differentiation, I mean, over time when we read the notes, such differentiation gets imbibed in us, and even when we encounter a new topic, we would know till what extent to study and then what extent to ignore. This often becomes important because, as we know, the breadth of syllabus is huge and we need to be selective in what we study. So next comes history. So for history, again, my single stop solution was Pratik Naik sir. So for ancient medieval history, medieval history, modern history, and art and culture, for all these topics, I refer to Pratik Naik sir's PPTs. And again, these are also somewhat comprehensive and on the bulkier side. Hence, you need to be selective in what you study. But once done, they form a solid base in these topics, and I always have secured good marks in these subjects. But again, a small word of caution, medieval history is a topic with low return on investment, hence you need to be more selective in studying it. Again, for modern history, I also studied spectrum alongside the PPTs, and that has been pretty useful. So the next topic I would go is geography. For geography, you can refer to either all the four NCRTs, or there is Nitin Sangwan sir's notes, which is made out of the four NCRTs, which is more like a compilation, so we can refer to that. Or else you can skip the above both, and there is a Sunya IAS has launched a static module on geography. So I also found that pretty comprehensive, so you can, instead of the above two sources, you can refer to that directly. The next is science and tech. So this is a pretty dynamic topic, and there's no single source which covers it holistically. So maybe, but one source you can refer is Sunya, again the Sunya IAS static module on science and technology. It had a decent coverage of various topics like space, nuclear, etc. So yes, your base will more or less be formed, but most of the questions are coming from current affairs, so you need to be updated on that. And the final topic is environment. So traditionally, Shankar IAS book used to be a standard source, but in the recent years, its utility has gone down. So instead of that, mostly questions are coming from again current affairs in environment as well. But again, since you need a static base and ensure that you don't miss out, you can refer to Sunya IAS static module. Again, I found that very comprehensive enough. So that forms the static part of our preparation. Next, coming the current affairs. So as you have seen throughout my exam journey, I could start my prelims preparation only after the result of the previous attempt, because almost every time I was giving interview. So for current affairs, I relied on compilations. I generally avoided reading newspaper because apart from interview, I felt for prelims and mains, newspaper has very low utility. So instead, I directly relied on compilations. So in terms of compilations, I had a yearly compilation, which is Sunya IAS Samadhan compilation, which is they provide a hard copy for that for the entire current affairs. So I relied on that. But again, a word of caution here: they are very bulky, and hence you need to be extremely selective in what you study. So you need to have an adequate idea of the scope of questions of which UPSC asks, and hence you need to be very selective in studying that. So that is the first leg of my strategy. So now coming to the second leg, which is practice. So whatever you study, it has to be augmented with practice, because ultimately that's what is reflected in the examination under time pressure. So many students, including me, like end up doing the same mistake over and over again. They feel that their preparation is incomplete, hence they postpone writing tests to the last minute. And in the last minute, there's so much to revise that they end up skipping tests altogether. So please never do that. Don't do that mistake. I can say you with certainty that you will never feel 100% prepared. There is no such thing called as perfection in this examination. It's all about being imperfect and doing things to the best of our ability in each arena. So even in this, so alongside your preparation, always ensure that you keep writing regular tests. So coming to choosing test series, you can choose any standard test series in the market, but make sure that the standard of test is aligned with the demand of the examination. This because some test series end up making questions which are too tough, and those too tough questions, yes, they look good on paper, but they end up dragging your confidence down, and you stop trusting your instincts because you end up getting very low marks, and your guesses often become wrong in the examination. And in some test series, the questions are too easy, and you don't gain much by answering such test series. So choose such a test series which is more or less aligned with the standard of the UPSC examination, or only slightly tougher, not more than that. So the third leg of my strategy is PYQs. So why PYQs are necessary? So I would say like PYQs act as a beacon of light for our preparation. So they guide our preparation in the right direction. This is because, as a newbie, it's easy to get carried away and start reading everything under the sun. But UPSC also has certain areas in which it likes the candidates to focus. So how would we know those areas? So whenever you find free time, just keep going through the PYQs. So once you do this exercise enough number of times over and over again, whenever you keep going through them, you will start noticing some patterns. You will start noticing the depth to which UPSC goes. So that will provide you a guideline on how to study. Like when you're studying a new book, say Lakshmikant, you will know what to study and what to ignore. Even in current affairs, you will know what to study and what all to ignore. So those can only come through analysis of PYQs. Also, PYQs bring you some clarity regarding elimination techniques, the so-called elimination techniques. So you will gain a better understanding of the language, the phrases that UPSC uses in the examination, and how that gives away certain clues with respect to some of the options, and you can end up eliminating them or choosing them. So that, and this familiarity with the UPSC language and the UPSC papers, the way the UPSC sets question papers, gives you a certain edge over other aspirants. Easily you can get up to more than 10 marks because of this edge. So please don't ignore this end. So I would also cover a related topic with that, related topic with that, which is the elimination techniques. This is an often asked question by aspirants as to how effective they are and if they are effective at all. So my personal experience is always your content and your instincts come first. So always trust your preparation and your instincts. So if a question can be answered on your preparation, regardless of what any elimination technique says, go with it. Even if you don't know it completely, but you feel a strong instinct towards a certain option, trust your instinct and go with your gut. Don't rely on the elimination techniques till that. So after doing the first two steps, maybe if you have eliminated one or two options, and now you have to make an educated guess on, because then you have to go for the elimination techniques. But again, there is a lot of crap outside in the market in the name of elimination techniques. You need to be clever enough to figure out which are useful and which are not. So this can be gained only by understanding the logic behind the techniques. So there are a lot of techniques, but don't rote learn any of them. Just understand the logic, like why is a certain technique being propounded, like why there are certain patterns. See, ultimately good techniques are those which identify the correct patterns in the UPSC examination and make deductions based on that. So if you can see such techniques, understand the logic behind how certain techniques are working, you will also understand when they won't work. So you will be clever enough in applying them in the examination. But again, these are all, none of the techniques are foolproof. It is just that maybe after reaching a 50-50 stage and make the final logical guess, if you do that, maybe if you do that over the scope of 10 questions, there is a good chance that you might end up on a net positive side if you do it correctly. So again, as I said, your preparation and instincts come first, only then go to the elimination techniques. And that brings me to the final part of the strategy, which is mindset. So your mindset on the day of examination matters a lot. So you need to go in a carefree attitude with a lot of confidence in the prelims examination, because the time frame of the examination is very less. It's just 2 hours. There's not enough time left to recover if there's a bad start. So always remember one thing. So I have scored 105 plus in all my attempts, and probably I don't know more than 50-60 of the questions there. For all the rest of the questions, everyone makes educated guesses. Like I know many of my ranker friends who also did the same, who also get very high scores in prelims, but many of the questions they end up only making educated guesses. We hardly know 50 questions surely. So don't get disheartened if you don't know a few questions on the day of the examination. Whatever, be in a playful mood. Like try to recall whatever you can, whichever you can, and always trust your instincts. So for those people who are used to answering objective questions like from a young age, say in JEE preparation and all, so they have a tendency of overthinking. Like we tend to look for the corner solutions, we tend to look for those exceptions and the way statements are formed. So all I can say is don't overthink. UPSC paper setting, it offers a very simple format of paper setting. The statements are often pretty generic. So don't overthink, don't look for those corner cases. Keep it simple and trust your instincts. Trusting your instincts is very important. Again, there are many questions in which we don't know the answer, but we often feel a certain instinct towards some questions, some options, because we feel that maybe we might have studied long enough, but we don't exactly recollect it, or based on our knowledge we feel certain option. So be courageous enough to trust your instincts. And finally, I would say you need to take some risks. Maybe through test series, while answering tests, you need to make sure like what is the adequate number of attempts. So for me, I always attempted like 98 to 100 questions. So even my logic was, even if I ended up eliminating a single option, I'll attempt the question, because at the end of the day, the negative marking is 33% of total marking, and by eliminating, even if I eliminate even a single option, I brought my probability of becoming correct greater than or equal to 33%. So if I end up attempting such questions, say 10 to 15 questions on the net positive, there is a good probability that I might end up on the net positive. So even if I eliminate a single option, I'll go for it, and generally I attempt 98 to 100 questions every single time. Also, one more thing I forgot, you need to analyze the test that you have written. So in particular in prelims, so say you have written a test, so sit down and analyze the answers, not just the score. See the questions which you have done right, and read the relevant content. If you see the solutions of any test series, it also provides not just the answer to that question, but also the relevant content surrounding it. So when you read that, it becomes certain revision in your mind, revision gets done, and that topics become even stronger in your mind. And now more importantly, the wrong questions, the questions which you have done wrong, now go through the topic, go through the content solutions again, and ensure that you memorize that then and there. One more thing you need to do, especially with respect to prelims, is analyze why you have done the question wrong. So think leisurely, like, is it there is a certain pattern in the question which you can identify? Is there a certain logic which you could have applied to eliminate one or two options? So try to eliminate, like, why, what is the reason? Like, maybe were you not courageous enough to trust your instincts? So what is the reason? Try to look at the reason why you did certain questions wrong. And when you do it for all the questions, you will sometimes notice a certain trend. If you notice, maybe there are many questions which you never studied at all. Probably you need to reconsider the base material which you are studying. If you notice that maybe you have read the questions, but you didn't recollect them in the examination, so it's time for more revisions, scheduling more revisions. And if you feel that you're unable to eliminate options logically, then it's time to attempt more tests and sharpen your that instinct of objective questions. So this is more or less my strategy. Also, a word of caution with respect to CSAT. CSAT, personally for me, it has never been a roadblock, being from an IIT background. But at the same time, I've seen many of my friends stumbling at the CSAT roadblock and wasting an entire year. So please don't do that mistake. If you are someone who faces issues with CSAT, make sure that you devote enough time regularly every week to CSAT as well. You don't want to be qualifying the first paper, which requires a lot of effort, and end up flunking CSAT. So make sure that CSAT doesn't become a hindrance for your preparation. So that's it from my side. This has been my detailed prelim strategy. I thank Delhi Knowledge Track for giving me this opportunity for sharing my learnings with you all, and I wish all the candidates all the very best in your endeavors. Thank you so much.